Hello and welcome back to the Clown Fiesta cast. Today I'm Matt the Manly Beast Man. Sitting next to me, as ever, Dolan Dirk. We are casting Team Liquid versus Cloud9. The bands are coming across: Soraka, Morgana, Gangplank, and for Cloud9, Lulu, Callista, and Nidalee. You were saying something before about
I was going to give a really good point about this Morgana ban, which is that Hai's been playing primarily Morgana and Alistair. No other supports are really prioritising Morgana, and it just goes so well with that Jhin.
Which
huge pick potential.
C9 has prioritised as well. The weird pick, I think, is actually, or ban, is the Soraka ban.
Right. So, I think Soraka is slowly growing. It's something they may have seen from Hai in scrims or something like that. I'm not too averse to the pick, because on blue side, it's been pretty commonplace now to be like, okay, do you guys want to give us Callista or Nidalee or Corki?
Yeah.
Right? And so C9's like, well, we don't want to give you Callista or Nidalee.
So they pick up the Corki. First pick for Liquid.
And on the 6.4 patch, it's quite interesting they banned Lulu. I mean, you would think that when they're versing Phoenix, you'd start to think more of Azir,
You would.
who's really on this latest
But
patch.
C9, even without the Morgana, they still decide to first pick Jhin. They're very confident in that pick.
Yeah, they really always go for this mid-game spiking team. As I was talking last week, they love to play the early lane swaps, super stock standard. They actually don't like to, do too much trading. They just like to trade a tower, or even sometimes just go into standard lanes. But once they've got that first item, then they like to unleash rush, and then they just speed up the macro game. They take a dragon, they take a tower, they take the Rift Herald, they get it pushed up, and you're just pushed and you have to react to everything they do.
Okay, and then the response is Poppy and Janna.
Yep, pretty standard picks. Think this Wukong is real?
No, I don't think it's real.
Right, well I'd say you were 100% correct on that one.
Yeah.
The classic C9 style of picking bans is they never actually hover the
Just
champ.
hover some bullshit and
They
then wait.
you do notice when they switch to their actual champs, they always lock in like within a second of actually switching to it.
Yeah.
I mean, Lemon's all about that mind games.
Yeah, it is. It
Even
is.
on
It is the
coach.
mind games. Just hover something and then decide.
That's a long hover,
It's a long
and
hover.
it is locked in.
A little bit of,
So
hesitation. But they've taken the Azir, which is a pick that has been. This Azir
It's
and
pretty
the
polarizing.
Jhin are both these
very
polarizing picks. Some people have been putting a lot of priority on them. So they say they're great picks. Other people are like, I don't really like it. I don't.
And especially picking them together, you do have this sort of mid to late game. You've got this team fight damage.
One thing that I did always used to like about the Azir was that you didn't have to run a super sort of hyper carry for the ADC.
That's true.
The Azir did give you late game.
One thing I find very strange is that one thing Azir was actually good for before was that tower pushing. We know Jhin possibly the weakest tower pushing AD carry because he's got no attack speed.
He's got the midi crits, but that's it.
It really, like, the mini crit from Floor Shop was really just a patch over his terrible pushing.
Straight away, the response from Phoenix is the Zed and the Rek'Sai. Rek'Sai's a pick that's hasn't been as popular as it used to be when it was top tier, but it's
I mean, Rainova is still
good.
using it to great effect. When you need to go for Cinderhawk jungler, I mean, Sejuani's been coming back a little bit with the small buffs to her.
Gragas.
Yeah, but Gragas would still play with Runic Echo style.
Echoes, yeah.
So I think Rek'Sai is probably arguably the top pick for Cinderhawk junglers.
Yeah. And, I mean, Darnock, he got a pentakill on that pick back in the Challenger series.
Yeah, I
so
actually
we
do remember
know
that fondly.
he is a more than capable Rek'Sai player. And, I mean, the Zed into the Azir matchup. And, of course, we just had last pick Alistair for Hai. Let's be honest, Hai didn't have his Morgana, so he goes to the other champ that he plays, Alistair. It's no surprise there. But that's not Alistair Jhin. I mean, is that a good lane?
I feel as if the Alistair is a pick more just because they saw the Poppy, they see the Zed, they go, we need a bit of peel. They really hit, like, we can't pick up Soraka or Janna Alistair's a really good choice, and he's nice and tanky. We can throw him in, he can disrupt the back line, and really just try and peel people off Jensen. And you notice that although it worked really well for them in previous game, the Morgana Jhin, it didn't actually lead to any like in lane 2v2 kills or like any real big forces in lane.
Yeah.
So it could just be the Cloud9 style to go for this mid lane play. I mean mid game play, like they've done before. I mean that's the
Play
cast-
the slow early, hit the turrets as 4 guys.
One thing I really want to note is because Rek'Sai does so well against Lee Sin heading into the later stages of the game.
It does. And Zed is quite a good pick into Azir. I mean,
It is the number
you
one
have
counter
kill.
pick,
You,
you'd
yeah,
think.
you have that kill pressure. Azir
From
needs
level
to be
3,
yeah.
really.
It gets to a point where Azir cannot sit alone in the lane against Zed. He will die.
Yeah, so I gotta think. I really think this game is on Dardoch, because if Dardoch makes his earlier moves while Rush loves his power farm, I mean, we've seen him do it on Nidalee many times. He even does it to a certain extent on Lee Sin before he goes in and makes, obviously, some ridiculous plays.
Yeah.
Will Dardoch be able to get in there and make things happen? Because if he does, I'm not sure if Rush will be able to catch up.
And Dardoch has kind of been the tempo for Liquid, hasn't he?
On his off days, they are
Yeah,
off.
exactly. On his off days, Liquid lose. When he's good, Liquid, they might not always win, but they get the advantage. They have tempo.
I mean, also, you could also think of the Lee, even though it has been Rush's pick of the day lately, it is also a bit of a takeaway from Dardoch, because we've seen him do some incredible things on Lee lately in the LCS.
TSM. I cry every time.
I absolutely ripped TSM a new one. It's Jensen's doing his best bird cosplay.
Dead bird. He's a spooky dead bird.
So it does look like we will be getting a lane swap in this game. Yep, so we're going to start with the double jungle.
So basically what happened for the lore of the Grave Lord Azir, Josh, is that Azir rose up for Shurima and then accidentally flew headfirst into a glass window. And
Wow. I mean, or did Brad just visit Shuriba, like melt everything? I don't know what I mean. Because
And turn into
glass
glass.
just sad.
No. He just went to like visit Siva's house and went. Right
Hey
into-
Siva! It's your dad! Boom! Dead.
Yeah, that's what happened. And Siva was like, "Well, I didn't really know him anyway."
And she
Didn't
got so
even-
angry that her W started critting.
Yeah, that's what happened. That's
Invade
that's
from
the law.
high. He doesn't actually steal anything.
He doesn't, and he doesn't really actually harass either.
Is he even going to get XP for this?
just-
Oh, he's getting enraged for
He
XP.
wants the. Oh,
I think he must have got, at least 40 or something XP from there. I mean, a worth invade if you ask me.
Okay, but now we have dive onto Balls. Balls is running after Piglet. He's been knocked out. Yeah,
GG.
GG.
Yeah, that was, I mean, we haven't really seen that since the days of, Dyrus, to be honest.
I know, but this is the thing with lane swaps. This is why people no longer leave their
top
top
lane,
laners
yeah.
at the turret, because they will just get dived. Why?
Dove, I believe, is the correct past tense.
Huh?
Dove is the correct past tense.
What is it?
Yeah. No, you'd think that they'll be caught out by the jungle. It was pretty obvious
And
that
yeah,
it
he
was a
just.
full lane switch
I
situation.
mean, and they pushed the wave in. There was no way Balls didn't know that was going to happen.
I mean, the only thing that might be a bit dodgy is maybe they didn't realise that Lolo was going to TP in, because they did see Rek'Sai on the bot side doing Raptors, so maybe
That could have
they
been
thought he
it.
was
That
safe.
could have been it. But either way, Balls drops down, and C9. See, now that they're only just taking out the mirror turret here, so they are behind in the lane swap tempo.
I mean, they're not hugely behind. The only thing that really sucks for here is just for Balls.
Yeah.
I mean, Sneaky's
And
cheeky.
Dardoch.
Very cheeky. Sneaky's up in CS. Jensen, I mean, he's just got to the point where it's going to start turning back around on him, but at the moment, he's doing fine in lane. Rush is jungling just fine. Nothing too bad is really happening for Cloud9 except for balls. Although that is quite
High
concerning.
comes up to zone Lawlo off the wave.
Yeah. Classic lane swap tactics. We've seen a lot of games where Trundle has been basically a non-factor.
Yep. There's a point where Trundle just becomes a pillar bot.
And I mean, for top lane Trundle, that's not something you ever want to go into. Because, I mean, like, Trundle, when he doesn't have the items, when he doesn't have a Titanic Hydra, he can't really output the damage, and he, like, the Subjugate does a little bit, but he really just turns into, pops up a pillar and then
that's one of the
dies.
reasons why Trundle was never really in the meta until now, because he was this almost a feast or famine champion who sometimes could just have no effect.
It's one of the things about these kind of more immobile brawlers, is that when they're really strong, they can just run at you, take all the damage, and still deal the damage to you. But when they're not that strong...
And we see C9 trying to get balls back into the game after their early death. They gave him these solo golden XP in the bot lane, and they're giving it to him again in the top lane. But TL, they're pushing in on this tier 2.
Yeah. I mean...
Balls still hasn't taken out the tier 1 and top.
This is actually not so bad.
He's
for
taking...
Cloud9.
Oh, he almost went a little bit renegades there. I was getting worried, but...
Lawlo almost went Renegades earlier in the game to the other tower as well.
But it wasn't actually Renegades, it was Dignitas. So.
These teams are...
Okay, they're on to Jensen. His Shurima slides, but he didn't have his... he pushes back.
Good old
Z
by Zed.
ultimate. And Lawlo comes in from the side, and that was all she wrote. Slams Azir straight into a wall. It's not even opaque.
It's not even...
It's not even transparent. It is opaque. Fuck me.
Man, that was overkill. Do they even need the flash slam? Man, that was... That's brutal. That was a... Yeah. And I mean, you could almost say that also almost comes from balls just being top lane. TL gets to push all the way to the second turret.
Okay, Rush wants it, but he doesn't get it.
No, it's very risky. Yeah, because TL pushed so far up, they're able, right then, once they're pushed up, they get free. Dardock's free, Poppy's free,
and
even
Rush
Jan's
is running in, he's running and he wants to get in. He misses his Q, lands one auto attack onto Phoenix, and runs away.
Flashes from both Phoenix and Lawlo, so small victory, but...
Yeah. And look, they got that Rift Herald. Many teams were doing this at IM, just getting that Rift Herald and having that... And they dive! Dardock goes in, highs low, he's dead. Dardock's at the back, he's low, he gets the heal! He's back in!
Ball Scout, no. Ooh. That bite, tons of damage. Yeah.
No.
Well,
and
also,
that's a tier 2 down. The 2 people drop for 0 on TL and they get the turret. That is a huge win.
Huge win. Huge win.
A huge win, Josh. No matter how you pronounce it, it's a huge. Kind of like...
This is actually one thing I really don't like about Jhin, is that you can't put Jhin behind a large minion wave at a tower. Right, most AD carries, think ones around in the meta, you've got Corki, Sivir, Lucian. They can all clear it very well.
Instead, Jhin has to go 1, 2.
Yeah, and then the ability of run maxes, well, that's only going to kill 4 things at best.
And this is such a nice, well-played dive from Liquid.
Super clean.
Because you would expect 3 men in a turret to be just as good, if not better, than 4 people.
I mean, Matt just played that so well.
It was really...
he's playing Janna, but he's just so well, locking them down, taking just as much damage as he needs to, and then backing off and letting his damage...
You could almost call him Adrian, really.
Well... No, I'd like to say that his Janna has his own merits too. It's not Soraka.
And Matt just telling Lee Sin, no, this isn't yours, mate.
And then, as we said earlier, like we've said previously, Matt gets the
And
blue
they
buff.
they give it to
I
Matt.
mean, they know Matt's gonna carry them. They're like, Piglet, mate, it's Matt's time to shine. Full AP Jana.
Matt says, "You're not walking over me. This is my blue."
Oh, not walking over me, man. Really?
Matt, like, it's
Oh.
in there. Adore
Yeah,
Matt.
man, you don't need to explain the joke. I cringed enough the first time.
Yeah, but I wanted you to cringe more.
I am.
Okay.
Good job. So yeah, we did talk about this earlier. We've got Rek'Sai really far ahead. It's pretty disgusting, actually, right now. Lee Sin is just so far behind at this point.
I mean, yeah, I think there is a lead for almost everyone on Liquid.
I mean, at this point, you got to think:
Well,
is it smart for Rush to keep going where he's going? He's going for Warrior. Is it smart to keep going in this build? Because if he goes Warrior, he's still gonna be 1v1 by Zed, and he still won't be able to kill Rek'Sai. I feel like
just get the Cinderhulk.
Yeah.
At least you won't die. Maybe you can get in there, disrupt with your kicks and team fights. And Piglet goes, "You better give me this one. You better
give me the other one. Come on,
I'm going AFK if I don't get this blue."
we've got a Zed and Rek'Sai. You guys don't need blue. Yeah, I think Rush is really banking on the fact that he's going to make a play. I mean, he very well could. We'll have to wait and see. If he does make a play, it would be what C9 need to get back in the game.
If a player was going to make a big play, it would be Rush.
That's true.
On Lee Sin.
But he's just farming while Dardoch
And
steals
did he
his
steal
cab.
No.
Yeah, he did. He
Oh, he
stole
did.
the big one.
Oh.
This is Dardoch's day, really. I mean, at this point, they need to make a play. Like, they're 4k behind in gold, so this is where it starts ballooning, and they need to slow the bleeding, really.
Yeah. But they've got this sort of weird, the Zed's still
Big chunk on sneaky.
yeah, but Rush comes in and Dardoch, he's over the wall. Lolo from the flank, the double pincer, ulti onto Rush.
Oh, passive killing off sneaky.
And Phoenix just jumps back.
Will Piglet live?
Oh,
Light from
C9
balls.
gets onto Piglet. Okay, there's 3 now, chasing down 2. Balls.
Pillar? Does he have a pillar? No, he doesn't.
They just back off. Okay, so that was a 2 for 2 from
I mean, that was the first night.
C9.
That was the first fight.
We were just mentioning that they need to make a play.
First big
They
fight.
actually get played on, but they managed to.
They managed to kill Piglet.
Yeah.
It's still overall a loss. And yeah, this is showing like a bit of of the few holes that you have in this Jin pick.
Yeah.
Right? When you get flanked, he has such a rough time escaping, even with Flash.
Look at all this damage before the fight's even started onto Sneaky.
Right? We already see Lolo is way in front
Lolo.
of Balls. Even with a nice kick from Lee to take Phoenix out of the fight for a bit. And of course, Matt with a good monsoon. Healing up.
Just knocks Jensen away.
Still not enough to save Piglet, but he did dive pretty deep.
Yep.
Yeah, and at this point you've got Zed, who just finished up a Yomu's. Like, he's versing in the AP lane, and he's thinking, I don't need to finish off my Maw yet. I'm just gonna go for the Yomu's. I see you within a screen of me. I'm gonna pop Yomu's one shot here and get out.
I mean, look at what Jensen's got. He's only got parts at the moment. He hasn't completed anything yet. He's got his Seekers, he's got his Stinger, and he's got his cooldown book.
Yeah, so right now, he does have Zonyas, so he can't survive Zed Burst, and he does no damage. It's really confusing.
Why he would
Yeah.
get some of these items over even just finishing the Nas's.
I mean, if you think about it, he's
Meshes.
almost tried to do the equivalent of what Phoenix did, right? Phoenix got Hex Drinkers, but he finished off Yomu's first. Jensen wants to get the Seekers, but finish off Nash's first. The only problem is, Hex Drink on its own holds up very well as an item. Seekers doesn't really.
No, even with the armor buff, it's still you buy Seekers because you want Zonyas.
Yeah, and Zed has been famous for having all these half builds. You would get a Bilgewater Cutlass and a Hex Drinker, and back in the day you'd even get a Brutalizer. But Azir needs his core items.
I don't think this will be contested. No.
Jin W too late.
And they put it onto Dardoch. And they used it very well before this. Getting that with that top turret dive. That gave them this. That really opened up the game for Liquid and put them in the lead. So let's see how they use this.
Well, we've got Bulls pushing in the bot lane. He's just in the back off. I mean, that was the only real point of pressure that they had on the map. And at this point, yeah, the Jin pick is still it's still just farming, but he's not even ahead of Corki.
Everyone on Cloud9 has not really hit item breakpoints yet. Look at Jin's build. He's sitting on the BF sword, the
Caulfield's Warhammer.
Clawfield's Warhammer, and
Clawfield. Sounds like cauliflower. Cauliflower's Warhammer.
Cauliflower Warhammer, and tier 2 boots.
Cauliflower Warhammer.
Fuck's sake.
Using the package to take down Dragon.
Well, I think it was right about to time out, so you might as well.
Yeah. Fair enough use.
And yeah, Piglet just takes this package and rubs it right over the dragons.
I mean, now that Cloud9 has been pressured, they don't get to make the same rotational plays that they could without being killed.
This was something you were talking about when we did our last cast, Josh. Our last cast. Well, I tried to stop you 3 times.
Yeah,
but
you did. I managed to get it out in the end.
Managed to get it out in the end.
They were shaking hands. Yeah, so this is exactly what I said. When they're pressured in by such clean play by Liquid, and when Rush
I'll cut you off.
Ooh,
Phoenix goes in.
what a play by Jetson! But
he lives.
Oh, what a W from Poppy. Will he be able to catch up? No.
Oh,
chase on.
Jensen.
Oh,
Whew, I thought he was dead for sure then.
that was a really interesting Shurima shuffle.
Yeah, he knocked him back and then jumped back with him over the wall together.
Yeah, it worked. I mean, I'm not going to question it. He got out alive. Maybe
But
he
you
wanted.
still feel like if you pushed him back and then he just shuffled the other way.
I mean, maybe he wanted the shield as well.
Maybe.
But still, that
Well,
makes
I
no
mean,
sense going in melee range of Zed.
He had
Yeah.
maybe
He
he
lived.
had backup on the
So
way.
I'm the
Maybe he
same.
thought he
He
could
lived.
shield it out, and he got out, and that's why he's an LCS player, and we're not.
Bronze for life.
Silver, mate.
Okay. We've talked about this before. Yeah. So as I was saying, we're gonna go back to the rush point. Rush on this lesson. Well, just in the last
Okay, flanked
game.
from Lawlo, but they're onto him. Lawlo
Will they be able to catch
goes
him out?
too deep. Yeah, he
first time-
wanted to come in from the side, but I believe that C9 just blue trinketed that brush where he was coming from.
The
And
subjugate just ripped
Just
off all
killed
his
it.
defensives, and then he pretty much just got one shot. See, this is
so
where
there you go. Now that this
Right
turret
over.
is low, we're poking it down, and it drops.
I know you love to poke down towers.
Yep.
Give him a good old poke.
Give him a good poke. I like to poke everything, Josh.
Right, let's stop there before we get into bad places.
Mouse traps.
Right, oh,
And Phoenix goes
Oh.
over the wall, and Sneaky, well, I
Unlucky.
don't even know why you healed there, mate. Doesn't even use the flash.
I mean, this is really all that Jin's done all game. He's just walked side lane to side lane, try to get farm, try to get these items and get big. But it just hasn't been working out. Like, Rush hasn't been able to make those proactive plays that would have set Zed behind, that would have stopped Lawlo with these flanks. And I mean, we got a small glimpse of.
And that's kind of
What it
thing
could
with
have been.
Zed. When they get later in the game, when Jin gets his QSS, when Azir gets his Zonyas, Zed's going to become worse and worse. But, I mean, they're still sitting on just the Nashes, just the Essence Reaver. If they go for these defensive items, are they even going to have enough damage to kill off the other people on Liquid?
And yeah, we see really kind of cute buys from TL. They don't want to take any chances. We've got a QSS on Poppy. Okay, so last time she got subjugated, this time she's not going to be. The subjugate's going to be instantly cleansed off. or maybe a snare from Jin. I'm inclined to thinking that that's purely for the subjugate, because there's not much else he can really cleanse off from that team. And then we've got the Aegis from Rek'Sai, which is basically making Azir at this point in the game a null factor. It's really safe.
Azir's just got his Nashes and an arm guard. Against that Aegis, he's not doing any damage.
Unless he wants to poke a little bit of the tower. One thing I also talked about in the last C9 game was Russia's build. Going warriors into deadman. This is a super playmaking build.
Yeah.
You get around behind really quickly, you get off these flanks, you get off these insane kicks. But when you don't do that, deadman's got nerfed. It doesn't have the stats it used to have. Warriors is good if you are making these plays, putting out a lot of burst. But if you're not, then you're just going to be doing nothing.
And he's on to balls. He's a tanky one.
Subjugate
he's
down.
subjugated. Phoenix
Just picks them off.
cleans him up, and they get out. But is it going to be traded for the Herald? The Baron.
I don't know. Jin is...
They
They
have
have it
vision
there.
on it. Piglet has stolen Barons before. TSM, I cry every time. But they
Flash
get
him
it.
with
They
high.
get it. But will they get out alive? Matt traps 2 in the pit. They're on to Sneaky. He's knocked up.
Will Jensen sneakily
Jensen
get out?
and
Oh,
yeah, that was a little bit ambitious, mate.
he's
Jensen is
juking.
still in the pit. He knocks it back as he got no.
Ooh, that was a big bomb.
He just took a big one straight to the face.
I know. You love taking big ones straight to the face, don't you? And they have Baron on a stock total of one member.
Yeah, only if by big one you mean penis.
Right. Okay. Then we should stop there.
And that's why.
I mean, this was a really risky Baron. High's already popped his ult, so he's not going to be tanky.
I mean, you can
And he
understand
flashes
why. You
in.
just saw the jungler on the other side. There's no chance of a steal. And this is the Cloud9 style of shot calling.
Great flash by Matt.
And yeah, and then Jensen.
I mean, if we saw that fight, Matt did so many good things. When Azir initially E'd, Matt ulted, pushing him away, and these are the kind of small mistakes. High flashing in, and then pushing him back, making Jin miss the binding. These small mistakes. Jin missing the binding, Alistair flashing in with no ult, Azir using his E offensively and getting stopped by Janna rather than just eating over the side of the pit and being able to get out alive. All these small mistakes are making them really just lose the game. And what was originally a kind of good Baron call that they could have just run out safely turns into a bad call. You would think maybe High was a little bit over-aggressive?
And I mean, once again, when we talk about over-aggression, compare Dardoch's build to Rush's build. Rush's got the dead man's warrior. Dardoch, he's got that Aegis for the team. He's got the... Is that the Cinder Hulk?
Yep.
He's got the Cinder Hulk. He's just going to be... He's even got the Sightstone. Rush is playing Lee Sin, and he doesn't have a Sightstone.
And I mean, Rush is even going in trying
Dardoch
to...
is doing so much more work.
Yeah, and we just saw, he's just running in, Zed just pops his Yo moves, runs away. It's really, really hard for this Lee to make any plays. He's playing Lee into Poppy and Janna. Both will stop his mobility. It's just so hard to pull off a kick on this Lee. And we even see Jin going for Phantom Dance. I mean, we almost never see Jin going for a Phantom Dance a second. Usually the Rapid Fire Cannon or even a Static Shift Wave Player is a much more popular option. I guess he's just buying it to try and survive against the
Yeah,
Zed.
just to not die. That seems to be what it's for.
But all these builds are just slightly suboptimal and... Yeah, it seems to be really costing Cloud9.
Yeah, and like it's like with Azir too. Azir really wants to get that Nash's Rylai's. That's what he really wants. That's sort of his core build. And he has to delay it by getting the second item. But here we go, Phoenix on to Rush.
1v1.
Misses the Shuriken, and I think Rush will get out alive. But Balls is
He's tanky.
dropping low, but he is tanky.
Pops
And
the
heal...
Gets out alive.
Yeah, and
I mean-
Yala just backing away. C9 hit back up, but...
If we saw earlier,
Right.
just the tunnel in from Rek'Sai, Blue Jin's flash. I mean, Jin has just had zero impact on this game so far. And you'd think for a first rotation champion, you need to have some sort of consistency that he'll always do well or take over the
Okay,
game.
Jin ulti comes out, 1 hit onto Janna, 2 hits onto Janna, and the next to block, Matt just healing everyone
Destroys
up. Warlow
Rush.
knocks 2 out, and
High's
High
down.
goes down. Jensen's in,
Interesting.
but
I would.
he's just gonna drop.
I
Dardock
think-
comes back into the fight with his Void Rush thingy, and
I think Jensen's tilted.
that's that. I mean, this. They're 14 too.
He's so tilted. He was just like, nah, screw it, guys. I'm going in.
It's,
They're all over half health, but I'm going in.
I know. It's.
It's really bizarre.
You would think. I mean, this is what Tilda's made of. They only have 2 kills. Their 2 kills are onto Balls and Rush. So their main carries are sitting at 0-3 and 0-4. Meanwhile, look at the other team. Phoenix 6-0.
Yeah, this is really impossible to come back
Piglet
from.
4-1. You're in trouble.
I mean, if we look at this engage again, it's a good idea, but it's too late. The sneaky ultimate gets 2 shots on the Janna,
And
but
then
it
it's
doesn't do
just
much
blocked.
damage. And there we go. A beautiful monsoon. Just
And then
Into
Lolo
the
just
posse.
knocks them out of the fight. And and then from nowhere, Jensen. I don't even know where he came from. He's just in so fast and out so fast. Okay,
I mean,
but here we have the duel, and Phoenix decides he doesn't want to.
yeah, Phoenix doesn't have a QSS to get rid of that subjugate, so whenever subjugate's up, it will be quite hard for him to win that 1v1.
Oh, and Rush. Whew. But he's
Oh.
going to get out. He's out, and the
Is he?
fight is
He
on.
is out.
High knocks people back, but he is 1v4 now, and I imagine he's going to
Going
drop
down
pretty
short.
soon. No, he flashes, but he goes down.
Yeah, and multiple times this game, High's actually blown his flash trying to escape really early on that bot lane dive. He blew his flash right before he died, and you got to think, would this game be different if Rush and High had their flashes for these offensive plays? I mean, they're relying on Rush so much to be this playmaker, but he's getting just shut down in all of these fights.
Yeah. And now, with the top inhib down, TL, they're going for the bottom one.
It really should be an easy push. They should
And
be able to get
High
it.
jumps right into the steadfast presence. That was an interesting decision.
I mean, Poppy's just
Okay.
so good for shutting down these engages. That
I
tower
know.
needs one more hit.
This is a very smart draft into what C9 has drafted. I mean, Poppy shuts down the rush, shuts down the high.
I mean, usually Trundle
And
is
if-
the counterpick
yeah.
to Poppy, but they obviously had this game plan in mind.
And lane swap. So, okay, here the tower is low. They're pushing in. They have another minion wave coming up. Phoenix in the mid lane.
There should be a really easy close out.
Rush.
buy,
He's
basically.
looking for the play. He's needed to make the play. This whole no, he's just backing off. And Phoenix on that mid turret.
Oh,
But Cloud9 goes in with Phoenix absent,
high.
and Jensen just
Oh,
gets butted
absolute-
straight back out. And did he hit anyone with the?
Disgusting.
Because Zed
he
just
just
went
hit one
straight
person.
over. High's in the mix, but he just drops. Phoenix, he's just reminder that day he went
And-
straight into the window pane.
and then Jin just.
He tried to be a good father, but
I mean, did you say Phoenix? Let's see.
is he?
Yeah. I mean, at the end of this game, Balls is still just sitting on what you'd consider should be the core items.
And Balls, Lolo's
fully far
tanking
behind.
turret, but
yeah, this game's all over.
yeah, with 2 downed in Hibs, but the Gen ult comes out, 1 hit onto Lolo, 1 hit onto Matt, 1 hit onto Dardock, and 1 misses. Just tagged them with 1 each.
You would think maybe
I like to
maybe
share.
he used curtain call because what? It's just the end. It's the end for Cloud9.
Oh, High interrupts the back play of the game from
damn.
Cloud9.
Probably High's best play all game.
I know. I mean, if you can call Matt Adrian, you can call High
And then-
Yellow Star.
If we check out what Jensen
Jumps
gets
in, and then
destroyed.
look, he He knocks back, but Phoenix just uses the ult and goes straight back over.
And Poppy just charges him straight into the side of the wall. It's a slaughter fest.
Yeah.
Jin is just
And
such a
what's
null
Sneaky
factor.
doing?
Just such a null factor in this fight. I mean, he's getting off 4 auto attacks that do next to nothing and then popping his Q and then running, really.
And while we were watching that replay, it looks like Team Liquid took out the dragon, making for that their 4th dragon. They have 4 dragons at 30 minutes.
You gotta think, did they even need to get that dragon?
It's gratuitous at this point, isn't it?
I mean, they're really just...
Jensen puts up that turret in mid lane. That's not mid lane, top lane. Interesting, for Phoenix is about to face the Q misses.
Rush is also on tilt.
Right, yeah, that is what tilt is made of.
It's made of.
Made of.
Absolutely made of. Will
Like,
High not
curtain
engage?
call comes out and people just run out of the pit, but he's on Matt.
Is this the end for Jensen? Not quite.
High's in the middle. Phoenix is in the back.
But a good charge from Poppy.
He can take it out. Oh,
Piglet's
and
untouched.
so much damage comes through onto the C9 members. Sneaky's trying to run away, but Phoenix is on his tail.
Ooh, a slippery escape from Jensen.
Shurima slug comes out. Sneaky, he's running up to the Azir turret, but that's an exercise in futility at this point.
Sneaky, once again being very sneaky.
And I mean,
Wasn't able to see
the
this whole
team
game.
Liquid really need to take the Baron at this. I mean, look, they got minions in the enemy base. They could just.
I think this is just making sure.
This
it's
is
really
just
clean.
being methodical at this point. Not even giving them a single chance to come out. Take the Baron, get the kill onto Balls when he pokes his head around the corner.
I mean, all the choices by Cloud9 have just been really confusing.
Jensen's try. Dardoch is over the wall. Phoenix, and that is. Oof. Jensen goes golden.
Why does he even Sonya's? What?
Oh, but Phoenix is 1v2. He's on to Rush, just trying to stop the Baron's steal. And he follows him. He's over the wall.
What a prediction.
Phoenix has been on fire this game. 8-0. Rush is trying to
Match
run.
blade speed.
See
Last
now-
Q. Oh.
He does get out
Tickles
with
him.
the curtain call. And the ward hop barely gets away.
This Zed is on fire, and as we see, High using his flash defensively.
High
once
using
again.
his flash defensively. High using his ultimate defensively.
I don't actually think I've seen an aggressive flash from High once this game.
He's never had it up. And Liquid, they're just gonna win this tutorial style. Take everything. Take it all. But High goes in for the last achievement combo. And Lawlo, he's
Balls is
just
useless.
tanking 3. Balls is just, he's got subjugate on, but there's just nothing he can do at this point. Other than just, just be a potato in the front line. Team Liquid. There we go, Azir.
Another
he just
interesting
charges
play
the-
from Jensen.
Jensen just charges the minions out.
GG, game over.
And yeah, this is game over.
I mean,
we're
is
just
there-
KD padding at this point.
Is there anything
Ultimate
really
onto High.
that you think is like positive that Cloud9 can get out of this game?
No. Well, there is definitely stuff because they've been prioritizing that Jhin. I don't know. Have they been prioritizing the Azir? Did they play Azir? No, but they picked the Azir as well. They picked the Lee Sin and built that build. They did these very polarizing picks that were either feast or famine. And I think this is where it's come to bite them in the arse. If you're gonna first pick Jhin, this can happen to you.
I really think all 3 of their lanes, you've got Jhin, Azir, and Trundle, all who are undeniably strong, but all who have been relatively inconsistent.
Yeah, and we know now because it's been after. I mean, we've been trying to keep up the pretense that this is the first time we've seen this game, or we didn't know the results.
No.
We do know the results. So this is Liquid in 4th place, I believe, in the LCS.
I do believe so.
Knocking C9 down to 3rd place for a 3rd and 4th place match. Liquid being in 6th or 5th before this. Fifth before this. So it was a 5th to 3rd
pretty
place
close.
match because of C9 had won this. C9 were previously equalled with CLG. If C9 won, so for 5th and 2nd, you do not expect 5th to stomp 2nd.
Yeah, and I think this just shows the growth of Liquid. I mean, Lawlo at the start of the split, everyone was like, man, like the team's looking like it's gelling real good, but Lawlo's just getting picked on every game.
I mean, we all saw Duo Q. The man's an idiot. I mean, he answered none of those questions.
I mean,
right.
Dardoch in an interview famously said that he's not even good at the game. He's just like a stupid kid that plays a whole lot.
But you know what? His Poppy was no room for complaint.
I mean, they almost took it over Immortal style, getting that top lane really far ahead. I mean, it did help that they were able to dive balls at level 2.
And that was, I mean, Cloud9, that they just got destroyed.
Every step of the game was just a shutout. Just a shutout from Liquid. And as we see Zyrene saying here, man, I love big butts, just want to grab them like this, put my thumb in it. Sometimes she says no, take it out. But it's like, I agree.
Yeah, I like to spank that ass.
Just and then
both hands.
Get right in it.
Right in it.
And then Liquid shoved it in, Cloud9 tried to scream and say get out, but their rape whistle wasn't working. And that was this game.
Here, Riventon's just sad. He's just thinking about his dad and how he flew into a glass pane.
Yeah. Once a bird, now a grave lord.
Okay. Right, well, thank you for watching the Clown Fiesta cast.
No one.
And no one. Goodbye.